hello everyone. Welcome to Roxy on Art. I'm Roxlana, and joining our discussion today is Orion. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, Roxy.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, you've said my name already. It's Oryan Duff. 41 years old and live in Esterhazy, Saskatchewan. So I've been there for about 4 years and work as a senior mine geologist. And before that, I was living up in Flin Flon for about 8 years, working at Hud Bay as a geologist as well. So yeah, it was nice to come a little closer to home where we have family and friends in Brandon, Riding Mountain National Park in Winnipeg. Yeah.
Nice. So what got you into art and expressing your creativity?
It's really kind of, it probably goes back quite some time. Probably maybe as early as 3, 4, and 5. I've had, my mom was an artist for quite some time, and she was into advertising. And with the advertising, she was making logos and stuff. So that's something that she got us into was using pencils and getting into her markers and stuff like that, and coming up with our own logos and stuff. So,
Ooh, cool.
yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of neat. So we would do that, and she would always make sure that she was giving us her finest pencils and her finest markers, and really putting them in both hands, left and right hand, practicing how to do that as well.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was their motive to do that?
I don't know, because it's a funny thing. My dad kind of laughs about it and stuff, but I'm left-handed, so is she, but my dad always says I was right-handed, and she said, well, I think he's left-handed.
Oh,
so she was
it was
a back and forth thing, and something I could actually kind of do was draw with the left and the right hand. So it's
That's
something,
awesome.
yeah, so that's kind of more or less where I got into it, and just, the appreciation of my parents both being kind of artistic and creative and stuff, and always kind of helping me with that and stuff. So yeah.
So what did your dad do then? That was his sort of creative outlet?
Well, my dad he was a gardener for 20 plus years. He was the lead gardener at the English Garden in S1.E4 Park in Winnipeg. Okay. So he's a lead gardener, and something that he kind of went into was artistic balances with landscapes. So with landscapes, with flowers and stuff, and bringing different colors from the back and into the front, different flowers would be able to portray different things. So him as an artist, and always bringing in plants into the house, and he's also got into many other things. Before he retired, he ended up getting into mosaic cultures, and also topiaries and stuff. So you would get framed animals and shapes and stuff, and you would fill them with succulents and plants and stuff, and be able to mold stuff from there. So yeah, so basically really got it creative, I guess, more or less creative from my family, I guess. And yeah.
Nice. So what kind of what inspired you to continue it and to do your own sort of creative outlets? Because
I'd have to say that, I mean, I was always doing pencil drawings and stuff up till age 12 or 13, and then just got into the high school years, and I kind of lost it a bit. But I'd have to say that I got more into it kind of in the last few years, especially with my wife wanting to open a coffee shop, and that giving an outlet for me to be a little bit more creative and starting things again. So I'd have to thank her for that. So,
Okay, so what kind of projects have you done? What are you planning on doing?
Yeah, really, honestly, I have to feel like I want to be creative. It doesn't. It will come and go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's not like I'm feeling down and I want to feel happy, so I need to fill that void of being creative. Just you get a feeling, and some of the stuff that I would do is I would be doing paintings and stuff, and I ended up getting my hands on a bunch of barn boards. So I started actually doing some painting on barn board, and you really didn't have to go into too much detail with that, because you've got textures and grooves and things that you can kind of work with, so you can actually see certain pictures within the barn board. So I kind of thought that was kind of neat and something different, right?
Yeah.
So, and I like to do stuff, that's visually appealing to me, and there's certain things like I just have an appreciation of all different types of art.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I've also we had a woodworking room downstairs in our house, and we bought 4 years ago, And my wife didn't know if I was ever going to use it and stuff. She said, "You're not going to use that." And I said, "Well, yes, I am. I'm going to use wood." And what kind of wood? And I went out and I went down into the ditches and my dad's property and mom and dad's property in Clear Lake, and there was some willow there. And the last other project I did was I shaped a deer head, a mounted deer head out of willow. And
That's
then,
awesome.
yeah, out of willow, and then I actually grabbed the real horns and put
Yeah.
that on top and stuff, and I've got it actually displayed in the coffee shop. So I like to, do jump from project to project. I really don't stay from one thing. I think it's something that's visually appealing or something I might see on, on Facebook, or I might see something on Instagram, or I see something, there's so many, outlets that you can see stuff and get ideas from
Yeah.
and say, well, I could do that. Either you spend $600 on buying one of those things or you try it yourself,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. So would you say that your inspiration is more so derived on the aesthetic appeal of something? You see something and it speaks to you aesthetically and it makes you kind of want to create it yourself, or?
Yeah,
Yeah?
more or less. Yeah. If it speaks to me, and I think I like the idea of having that mind to hand concept of artwork and of doing art. So if it has to do with crayons or paint, or if it has to do with wood, it's just getting that connection between the hand and the eyes and the smell and all. You just get all the senses being heightened at the same time. That's something that I kind of look for, and always just try to go for something different, right? So so who knows what I'll do next.
So the actual creation process is a really important part for you then.
It is, and I try to put in 150% every time. I do like paying attention to detail. I can get bored quick, and I like to with my artwork. I like to get it done as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's
kind
the
of
same
thing.
with me.
And if it's something I don't like, well then, so be it. I'll throw it out, or I'll just move on to the next thing or whatever. Maybe it was for me, maybe it wasn't. But I like to try new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like to do new things. So do you like to, see something and you think it's, like, how would I be able to do that? It's the challenge of it.
I
I
like the challenge. Absolutely, you're bang on that. I like the challenge, and I do definitely like the reward of doing it as well. It feels good to be able to accomplish something that's that you didn't know if you could do it or not. So yeah, I really enjoy it. So, and as the years of the older I've been getting, just kind of appreciating artwork and being creative, and there's many years ahead that I think I can do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. So how has your art evolved through the years? Do you gravitate towards certain mediums
Do you know
more?
what? No, honestly, it just there's, like I said, there's so much out there right now. When you were younger, really, you had a pencil in front of you, and it's what you saw on TV or from family and friends and stuff. But like I said, once again, there's so many ideas that you can do with rocks and with just with different paints, and just there's so many different types of creative people out there that I get ideas and I grab a little bit from everything and see if I can put it together into my own thing, more or less. So, and basically, What was the question? What was
I don't even remember what it was. It was how your art has evolved.
Well, more or less. It's just I don't know if it's evolving. It's staying the same, but I think it evolves every time I do something different. And then if I like it, and then I feel like I've accomplished something, and I have confidence to move on to something maybe a little bit tougher, or bigger and better, or something.
Right. Okay. So it's more of it evolves through your skill. Where you conquer one thing, and it's like, okay, what's the next thing I can try out that I haven't done before? Okay, so would you say that creativity is a little bit more accessible now, given the technology and internet? We have so many more sources of inspiration, also how to do something, right?
I would absolutely. I would say that it is more accessible. Absolutely. I think that in a way that I was having a discussion with a friend a while back on. Once again, talking about the mind-to-hand concept, I definitely hope that people aren't going away from that, because now with everybody having little mini iPads and iPhones, they get that quick fix with the younger kids and stuff of what they want to see, a video and stuff, and they lose focus. And I think the idea of drawing and pulling your nice pencils and doing that, and you get that real focus, kind of thing. So I think that it's. In a way, it's evolved as well. I mean, obviously with technology and graphic arts and stuff, there's so many things that you can do on computers now.
Yes.
And drawing and stuff and angles and get things. But then again, there's I don't want to say it's criticism, but you can go into, a picture and pick many pictures on it, colors, and be able to pick what color you want. You're not spending that time coloring it in or shading it. You can change the shading, angles and et cetera, et cetera. It's changed, but people are still I do believe that people are still being very artistic with their hands and stuff like that. But it just, it's evolving in a different way too as well.
Definitely. So I know that you have kids, and they've grown up with technology. How do you think that it's affected their creativity versus when you started out as a kid looking into this?
It depends. I've got two boys. Both of them artistic in their kind of their own way. It depends. It really depends. I don't think it's really changed them much. Because I'm still. Me and my wife are giving our kids the opportunity we will go out and actually buy them really nice pencils or nice pencil crayons or markers or paints or stuff, and to open that and get something fresh and know that it's something special. So I that's the thing, though, is that we give them the opportunity to do stuff and nice paper and stuff like this. So they like to do it. There's times where they'd rather go on their iPad and play their little video games or do whatever. But we try to get the correct balance.
Yeah, you sort of set the stage for creativity.
Hope so.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think? Because you clearly have art involving many areas of your life. How has it affected your relationships with your wife, with your kids, and with friends? How has art sort of affected those relationships?
I think in more or less in a good way. I think it's kind of when I do artwork, or like my wife is artistic as well. I mean, both of us, we like to sit down on Sundays or something and with the kids and stuff and do a little bit of artwork depending on whatever it is. Like we just did last Sunday, we all did a little bit of painting on a barn board piece, so we just cut it in 3 pieces and did our own things.
Oh, nice.
Little trees and Christmas trees and designs and stuff like that. So, and how has it affected my family? If anything, in a good way. It's just, it's a way of being able to spend time with each other and really get a connection with the family and stuff, and start talking, and other things unfold from there.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, it wasn't that like, how was school today? I don't know. We actually start talking more about it as we're going through the through the process of doing some artwork. So it really kind of opens stuff up. It really does. So
and I think the act of doing artwork together, you almost you unveil something about yourself, and it's not directly like if I said something about myself to you. It's different where I'm drawing something, and that drawing is something reflective of myself. It's telling, and when we're kind of doing that together, I mean, in my experience, I feel as though it can help foster a connection that goes a little bit more beyond than just, how was school and, just talking to one another. It's different. It's conversation in a sort of different plane. Yeah,
absolutely. And and something, and just the back and forth of encouragement with each other and stuff about, and if you don't feel good about it and stuff, well, you can give somebody else advice about how you could touch something up or make it potentially better or whatever. But always giving your other people encouragement on what they're doing. It builds their confidence and they feel good about it and stuff too. It's just it's just a great way of being, just filling in those gaps to be happy, So
Okay. So what do you think the effect of engaging in art has on someone's self-esteem and confidence then?
Oh, I think it does quite a bit, actually. Yeah, it's the more you do it, I think the more you do of anything, I mean, it's practicing on something. You practice, you will become more confident. If it has to do with playing sports, or if you're cooking, or if you're doing anything, studying, whatever, the more and more you practice it, the better you're going to get at it and stuff. Yeah. And as you become better and you be able to do those, I mean, there's certain things like like if I start doing some painting, I'm not painting all the time, but there's certain, little tricks of the trade on how to do something. You learn that along the way on
Yeah.
how to make branches or use certain brushes, or you could use different textural things like sponges or do whatever, right? You just learn along the way, and it makes something look a little bit better. And yeah, so yeah, and it definitely builds your confidence. You feel good about it. You'll know.
Yeah. Oh,
You'll
yeah.
know when you feel good about it. You'll know when you don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. And you just gotta kind of move on, kind of thing.
Were you always open to show other people your artwork, or was there a point in your life where you were a little bit more apprehensive to show it to other people?
No, I was good for showing it, you know.
Yeah?
I didn't. I was never apprehensive. I know a lot of people are. They don't want you to look at it until they're done. They'll hide it, kind of thing, you know. Don't wait till it's finished, or if it's finished, then and they don't like it, then they won't show you it all. But I mean, you know, I had no problem with showing some artwork or the finishing of the finished product or how it's been going through, because I can always get advice from somebody as well.
Right,
you know, like I would get it from my mother or my wife or whoever, and say if we could do something a little extra or something might look good here or whatever there. So it's just, you know, bouncing ideas off of each other to make something, you know, good.
Oh yeah, so it becomes kind of a collaborative effort in a sense as well. You know, you want other people's input, you want to share, but also want their feedback.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's a good thing is sharing, sharing that information back and forth too, because you're always learning and grabbing knowledge from other people, right? So I think that's important.
Yeah, and everyone has something that you don't know, and you know, the more open you are to just showing off, you know, what you know, and you know, wanting to reciprocate someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. So you have a full-time job and a family with kids, and you run a coffee shop. How do you have the time to actually get into these sort of creative projects?
Well, you have to make time for it. I mean, like I said, I'm a geologist at K1 Esterhazy, so I usually work from usually 6:30 till 3:30, and then I more or less it's my wife's coffee shop, so she runs that and stuff. I will come at the end of the day and you know, grab a coffee, help out, take out the garbages or whatever and stuff and whatever. But you know, something that I've kind of helped along the way is to do some finishing touches, like doing our sidewalk signs and stuff for the coffee shop, doing little drawings and stuff on those. And I've learned how to make all the specialty coffees. They weren't easy. It was actually kind of.
There's a lot of them.
there's tons of them, you know. But doing that and then just balancing with the kids and stuff. They've become independent little ones, which has been kind of good and stuff, but they help out from time to time at the coffee shop. They come after school, or they always have sports or something. So by the time I'm done work at the coffee shop or help out between 4:30 and 5, we go home, and I'll go home with the kids. We'll make supper, and Jen comes home, and we balance the rest of the evening that way. So no, it works out good. I'm happy she opened that coffee shop, because I like socializing and talking to people, and I think that's something that the community needs as well. Yeah,
definitely. So how do you think that, because like I love your coffee shop.
Cool.
I think it was like such a great addition to this town. What kind of effect do you think it's had on the community?
Well, I think it's been good, actually. This is a great time for a plug. So the name of the coffee shop is Whippletree Coffee in Esterhazy. It's been open for over a year, but you can actually see the logo right there. That's something that I ended up actually drawing with. And we actually, rather than getting...
so you drew it?
Yeah, I drew the logo. You can't really see it too well, but we actually ended up getting a local place here, printing place here in town that actually made us a little stamp sticker. So rather than paying for all the money to get logos put on the coffee shop, we just get the stamp done. We just put them on the jackets. And pop them
so
on
you
there.
Individually stamp each one?
Yes.
What a personal...
Yes, it is. Everyone's different.
Yeah, every one of them is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because I was only visiting Esterhazy for, I don't know, about 6 months before I actually came and lived. Because my boyfriend was here, and I was just visiting him. We were in a long-distance relationship. And the whole time that I was there, I was like, you know what? This place needs a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's the one thing they need. You know, there's no place that, like, well, you're gone, and I can just, like, go out and talk to people and chill somewhere. It doesn't exist here. And then right before I moved, you guys came in, and it was perfect. I love the shop. It has such a big city sort of feel inside. but it has that really nice, warm, small town feel to it.
Oh, good.
It's very friendly. I love, whenever I go there, it's like you just get transported to a different place.
Oh, good.
Which is fantastic. I love that. And
yeah, and I think, well, that's something we were looking for, you know, and it's something that we knew that the community would like, and we were just kind of, we were waiting for the right location. It was all about location too, you know, and and so with the friends of ours that bought the theater, Maple Leaf Theater, it made sense that they had talked to us and that we would have the coffee shop open in the daytime, and then we'd have the theater and the movie showing in the evening time. So not only that, but they put on plays and live music, and we were having live mic nights every month during the wintertime in the coffee shop, and it was getting quite packed in there.
Yeah.
So then we actually moved it into the theater too as well. So no, it's great. I mean, when people come to the coffee shop and everybody, it's cool to watch everybody put their phones down and engage in a conversation, because that's kind of, it's a lost. You know,
it's lost art.
Lost art. It's becoming like it, you know, absolutely. So it's nice. I'm glad. I think the town enjoys it, and yeah, we're happy with it, and the people there are great, and you learn so much more from certain people that you wouldn't normally be talking to. You know,
definitely.
Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, it's such a good meeting point, especially coming from, you know, I'm not from here, and I'm still relatively new. That's such a great sort of little meeting place. Like it's just it's such a good little like cultural hub. Yeah. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and the first few months we were open, it was quite busy, and then I was like, man, Jen, we just opened like the Peach Pit, like the 9 to 1 Peach Pit or whatever, you know, kids everywhere and stuff. But all ages come there, which is good. It's cool.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So. I guess we'll go back to your artwork. What do you think is the most important factor of the conception of a piece of art?
What's the most important? Ooh, that's a toughie.
I know it is.
Say it again so I can think of it down.
What is the most important factor in the conception of art?
Well, I think you want to come up with a good idea that you're going to feel like you can tackle it correctly, and being able to build a strong base or foundation from that, and then build out and put as little or as much detail as you want into that piece of art. The next thing that I was thinking about tackling is actually getting into notice. Just on Instagram, there's some people doing carving with a chainsaw.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
So I don't even know how to use a chainsaw, but I know that we have a friend's dad in Rocky Mountain National Park that he does carvings of bears and all sorts of things on big huge logs, and he does them he has them scattered throughout Clear Lake at people's cottages, but also at the golf course as well, and they're just the neatest things. So I'm going to learn how to work a chainsaw and buy one, and I'm going to do something in my backyard, and I think that's my next project that I want to do in the summertime. So I want to be able to carve a big bear or do something. See if I can do it.
Yeah. And all of it with a chainsaw.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
How do you do the little details?
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna. Well, you can. That's great with Googling stuff, right?
I mean, you can. Power the internet right there.
You can get little tiny saws and chisels and whatever, and just work on it and feel it out. You know, I think I've got a bit of it. I'm patting myself on the back, but I think I've got a good eye for seeing things in 3 dimension. So that's something that I think I want to tackle next. Yeah. So I don't know if I even actually answered that question. Maybe because I didn't know what it was.
Did. Yeah. Okay. So just to touch on, you're saying how you can see things quite well in 3 dimensions. How has your creativity and working in different art forms, how's it affected your work, since you do work with a lot of 3-dimensional models?
Yeah, well, I did at Hud Bay in Flim Flon. We were using a program called MindSight, so that was seeing things in 3D and shaping things in 3D, and also using another software program, AutoCAD, which is in 2D. So being able to bring in drill holes and bring in mapping and stuff from stope blocks and stuff that within the ore deposit itself. It was neat that because in geology, you're never really getting all pieces of the puzzle.
Yes.
That's the thing, is that so it's all about interpretation. So being able to see things go underground and actually visually see them, and then looking at drill hole data and collecting it and mapping and being able to put it into a software program and being able to manipulate it and having you have to have a visual on how I actually had in my drawer, I had Play-Doh.
Okay. Yeah.
So I could actually visually see it. Sometimes it would be tough, so I'd actually shape, copper one color, zinc the other, and be able to mold them to see what the ore deposit was doing, depending on what structures were affecting what. And I could visually, and I'd say, guys, see, and they still didn't understand, but it helped me.
Yeah, it helped you.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in a way, it just gives, it's helped me in work, absolutely, being a little bit creative and being just giving a different interpretation of the deposit that you're working with. So there, and working in Esterhazy, working with an evaporite sequence with the potash. That's something. It's a horizontal bed evaporates deposit, but kind of tougher with that. But you can still, being creative. You have to be creative to be a geologist, and a little wacky too, I guess. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, is there any creative outlet that you have that you use for relaxation, given how packed your schedule is?
For relaxation, yeah, there is.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I like to cook.
Okay.
I don't know, so that's not real. I mean, it's just a way of being creative, but that's something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's total art form. Yeah,
after I was done high school, I worked on ski hills and some peaks and Todd Mountain and also in Canmore, and cooked on the hills there. So my brother, the middle brother actually, he's a sous chef that works out in BC. So he showed me a few things on what to cook and what to do. And when I come home after a stressful day, I like cooking, roasts and stuff, and making linguinis and stuff. But learning what sauces go with what and what herbs go with what. That's something. So that with a beer or a glass of wine or something, it kind of takes me into a bit of a zen zone.
Yeah.
So I'll put on some Italian music and I'll go at it.
Nice. So are you someone who goes off of recipes, or you're more taste oriented?
Well, I never really measure things. I mean. Yeah. With baking, my wife does a lot of baking, so measuring has to be very precise, and I always flop there.
Yep, that's the same for me.
But
I'm a baker.
There's so many things. Once you can look on the internet, and I'll say I want to do some sort of cream garlic shrimp linguine or something, so you can always grab a little bit of from here, and whatever. I actually like, when I'm doing cooking, I like to do a lot of, I go on the internet and look for Jamie Oliver. A lot of his cooking is robust, and it's raw, and it's cutting pieces up, and it's appealing the way it looks and how it's cooked and stuff. Yes. And, so that's something that's definitely something I really enjoy doing. I think I always will like to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and so you enjoy the whole process of it. There's a lot of sensory sort of stimulus going through with the scent and the look of it. Yeah. Do you play around the plating of it at all?
Oh yeah. And it's got to look up. I mean, if you spend so much time. Working on it, and you've got to want to present it, look nice and stuff, and all, a little bit of this or a little wipe of the whatever, but and then I put it in front of my kids, and I ask them to take their time, because they're always, when I want them to sit down and enjoy the meal, have the conversation, but they're like literally just sitting on the edge of their ready to just kind of eat and leave the table and go, So, but I like that, because at the end of the day, it's the time that we all can get together and have a nice meal, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to make a nice meal, and just sit and have a conversation, and it's just a way of me, I guess, being a little bit creative and just enjoying doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Why do you think art is important?
Art is important because I think it helps you focus on things, and being able to put feelings in into your work, into, you know, depending on how you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling sad, maybe you're feeling happy and stuff, but it's a way of expressing it, you know, and yeah. I almost forgot the question again.
Why is art important?
Yeah, well, well, it's just important. Yeah, you know, it's important. It's a way of just kind of just being yourself, really, you know, and if you're good at it and stuff, it's just I guess.
Could you picture yourself, I guess, your life without art?
No, because it would make me, like, you know, just very tight and I want to express myself, you know, and it's something, I couldn't live without it and stuff. It's just who I am, right? It's my nature. It's like telling yourself not to smile ever or sing ever or do whatever, you know. So I mean, no, it's a part of me.
Yeah. So you would say it's like an inherent part that's always.
Oh, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely, it has to be. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life doesn't seem right without some art in it.
No, I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and especially with the expression. I mean, you can express yourself by talking to someone, but there's this whole new level of expression of self when you're working in different mediums, I find.
Yeah.
You know, even, just painting a piece of barnwood can say something that you really can't convey in words about yourself.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the challenge, too, is great. You know?
Yes, the challenge is fantastic. Because, when you get it, that satisfaction of getting it is just...
It's good. Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you have any future sort of big projects you're planning on doing?
Like I said, I might do something with the chainsaw. I don't know. I probably like to do some more work with wood and stuff. I want to be able to make something. That's where I go off, and I like to do different types of artwork with something that I can have physically for my kids to give to my grandkids and whatever. And so my great-grandchildren, what if they're like, why did he make that? What is that? Or whatever, right? Or, you know, it just gets them, and maybe they look a little bit more into their great-grandfather or their grandfather, and it's just something that can be carried on to the family down the line and stuff. So, I do want to do something, and I think a big goal of mine lately I've been kind of looking at property. And so I've been looking at property, and I think if there's any time to buy any property, it would be now, because if you want to buy a lot that's beachfront or wherever, it's just becoming very expensive.
Yes.
So, you know, it's the time is now, and I actually would like to buy a little piece of property that would have a little bit of a hill and would have some nice trees around, and just a place where I can hang out, and maybe a creek or a river or whatever in front, because I've been, my wife did buy me a few books, and because I've been interested in this, I want to actually build a straw bale house.
Ooh, wow, that's quite the project.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way of being creative, and something I want to do with the boys before they get too old, and with my wife as well, is build something that's, from the ground up. And I think relatively you can build them for cheap, and they're very sustainable too. I think I like the idea of it just being artistic. You know, because you can. I don't want to build a cookie cutter house. No, I want to be able to build something that's maybe like a pallet, like something oval or circular. So, and with these straw bale houses too, you putting your plaster molds on the outside and the inside, you can put artwork and forms into it and stuff like that. So. It's, you know, people make fun of me. Well, I don't want to say they do, but I mean, it's something I will do. I've just got to make sure that I'm in the right location and I can do the correct codes. I mean, I'm doing the right code for building and stuff, but I want to have something with a reciprocal roof on it. I want to be able to have something, maybe an oval shape with a loft. I want to have landscape on the outside and stuff, and my dad will help me with some of the gardening and stuff, and, you know, kind of look like almost like a hobbit house.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
awesome.
And there's many ideas, and my little ones that we've been actually drawing up dimensions and pictures of what we'd like to see.
So you've been collaborating with your kids on
this
absolutely
too. So
this has kind of become like a family sort of project.
Well, in a way, I mean, it's I'm slowly pushing it towards them. And I think they're accepting it and stuff, but it's, you know, it's something I definitely want to do, and I think it'll be cool. I think it's just a big thing to be, just being creative, I just think it would be really cool, and I'll make it look cool too.
Yeah. So what inspired you to want to make something like that?
Maybe Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
One art form inspiring
You know,
another
but
one
you
there?
could. Yeah, I mean, there's. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he's from. I don't know if he's Dutch or something, but he built a hobbit house, and it was just beautiful. And he had the grass and on the roofs and stuff, and the way that he had the gardens and everything set up, and everything was, all the staircases were all carved out and everything like that, and the lighting of the fireplace and everything was just neat. It's absolutely magical, and it's just, I'd like to have a place to just sit back and have a coffee, either indoors or outdoors, and just have your own little magical little place.
Yeah, you're basically creating a little piece of magic that's just
yeah,
your
and
own.
it's something that, and that I will be patient with. That's something that could be carried on for many years, and you just pick away at little locations and spots inside or outside and make it yours, and then that's something that can be passed down through the family. So
Oh yeah, that would be like the ultimate heirloom.
it would, and apparently they do last for quite some time. But
Yeah,
once
what
again,
is quite some time?
I don't know. I think 100 years.
Oh wow,
I think
really?
they can, yeah. So, and I've looked at it. There's cob houses and stuff that people build with clay and straw and stuff, but that's typically not good in winter zones. It's usually built down south. But straw bale is actually, it's really good, and you can use flax and stuff. And yeah, I've got to look more into it and stuff.
Yeah, there's
I've
a
got all
lot
the
of
books to
detail.
read and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like you can Google anything up and nowadays and get information and just visual things that appeal to you. So I think it's just the visual appeal as well. I've never been in one, but
Yeah.
soon to be maybe.
Yeah, soon
Yeah.
to be. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's such a, well, you're kind of redefining, like, a house is a shelter, has this sort of very functional, utilitarian sort of use to us.
Yeah.
But you're creating it into, like, a whole new piece of artwork. It's not just a shelter.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. You're doing that.
I think you
really
just see
like
it,
that.
and from what I've heard too, building something that's maybe oval or round, it's just the way you think sitting in the house differently. It's just just different than having that square shape, right?
Oh yeah, well, I know, well, we're in the middle of doing renovations and things are finally coming together. And it feels like we're in a completely different house. Like I feel completely different working in that house. Like when I'm cooking something, everything feels right. Like the things I'm making feel more me. Everything feels way better. And so I completely agree with you that the aesthetic of a place, or even just the angles and everything else, can really affect the way that you feel and how you're thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's awesome that you're creating something like that, especially this is a getaway house,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you get a getaway to a place that you've intentionally made very magical,
Yeah.
and then you put it in a place that it's kind of reserved to be a magical place.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't go there after work, or you have all your things that normally happen in your house. This is a place where it's like, this is separate. This is where we go and have a good time.
Yeah.
This is like family, friends. Like,
Yeah, and maybe just be creative once again. Do artwork
and just
there,
to be
just chill out.
creative.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Oryan, for joining us
Yes.
and having this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fantastic.